What's up, guys? We are back for another edition of the Leadoff Show. This is April 3rd. We got a 11 game main slate today, and I think a 2 game afternoon slate. So, plan right now is to play both of those. For today, I'm gonna try to keep the show around 30 minutes. I think that's kind of the sweet spot. So today the plan is I'm gonna recap my lineup from Saturday's slate. I had a pretty good day, and I think I'm gonna use that as kind of just kind of show my thought process on what I played. We'll hit the afternoon slate just real quick, maybe 5 minutes tops, and then we'll go through the 11 game slate pretty quick. Just give some thoughts on some of the pitchers and potential stacks for the day. So real quick, this is Results DB. It's free on Roto Grinders. You can pull up any contest or any slate really. The contest is kind of the 4 main GPP slates, so it's not great to show single entry contests just because they're not here, but we can still kind of walk through. I played the same lineup in every slate, so for every contest I was in for this slate, so we can kind of just see my thought process here. So this was the Saturday slate with Strider and Justin Steele as the top pitchers. They both just dominated, and this was the game the Braves had a ton of home runs. I think Acuna Olsen went back to back to start the game. And then the Red Sox went crazy too. Duvall had 2 home runs, including the walk-off home run at the end of the game. So kind of worked out for me with having Duvall and Olsen. So with this team, my thought process was the Strider and Steele I just couldn't pass up. They ended up being the 2 highest owned pitchers, and I just didn't really care. I thought as long as I didn't play those 2 guys with the Braves, that I was okay. The not pictured here is Luis Robert from the White Sox was my third outfitter, who also got a 0. But so my thought process was Strider and Steele. I thought, as long as I don't play them with the Braves, I'll be okay. So then the Red Sox were popping. The bat really liked the Red Sox. The weather was good. That series between the Orioles and Red Sox was just runs like crazy. So that was the spot I was targeting. So with that being said, once I got the Red Sox in, they were pretty cheap and allowed for 3 expensive one-offs. So I still wanted Matt Olson. I think Josiah Gray was starting for the Nats, and he's just a huge home run pitcher. And the wind was blowing kind of out to right center in that Nationals Braves game. So I really wanted Matt Olson. Of course, hindsight it worked out, but I don't mind in this case when I have such a low on stack getting some chalkier one off. So Olsen, I had Ohtani. I was kind of considering Acuna or Ohtani here. Acuna would have given me that 1-2 just like mini stack from the Braves, but I thought the lower ownership on Ohtani was too much to pass up. So, and then Robert was my third one off. Of course, he got 0, didn't work out, but just massive upside from him. So I don't mind my one-offs having upside like that, whether it's home runs, stolen bases, something like that. You want, with your one-offs, you want to get guys that can produce when their team doesn't. So Ohtani and Olsen definitely fall into that, and then Robert, home run, steals guy. I'm fine with that being my one-off. So that's kind of my thought process for the day or for this slate. If you do end up on some chalkier pitchers, that's fine. Just don't full stack the most popular team. It's okay to have one off Olsen. Even if I went Olsen and Acuna, that would have been fine here, just because I was playing the bottom of the order for the Red Sox. I think Arroyo was 7, McGuire 8, Kike was 9. So not too concerned what the rest of my team is once I fit in a cheap stack. All right, so let's go forward to today's slate. First slate, I think, is actually a 2-gamer. It's this Brewers, Mets, Giants, White Sox game. So real quick, just thought process for 2-game slates is I would just dial back your entries. If you usually enter $20 a slate, I would just enter 3, 4, 5, something like that, and get really different. With these 2-gamers, the chalk really condenses, so there's no reason if you play on this slate. I don't even know. I think DeSclafani's an opener with Sean Manaea coming in after, so I'd be out on DeSclafani. And then probably out on Manaea as well. I'm not gonna take a guy that's doesn't even start. You have no clue what his innings are going to be. But with Peralta, Carrasco, and Kopech, I would think. I mean, between those 3, you have probably 180% of ownership between the three of them. You're looking at Peralta maybe 70%, and Kopech, Carrasco around 50-60%. So with that being said, I wouldn't mind, if you pick two of them, I'd probably stack against the third one. I wouldn't be afraid to do that. I guess the White Sox might be the most popular hitters just because of they have the highest team total, and they're facing this DeSclafani Manaea combination. So first glance, I'd probably pick two of Carrasco, Peralta, Kopech, full stack the team I didn't pick, and then have some secondary stacks from the White Sox. So don't be afraid to get different on these small slates. Only 2 games, a lot can happen. The ownership is super condensed, so there's really a lot of upside there in getting different. All right, with that being said, though, let's go to the main slate. Go. All right, so with this slate, not a lot of good pitchers on it. Just all the aces are still kind of all on the same rotation. So we're really going to see kind of the 4th and 5th starters these next couple days before all the aces come back around. And then as the season goes on, these aces should start to end up on different days, and we'll have a few more obvious plays. Let's start off though, like we always do. If you're new to the channel, Weather Report with Roto Grinders is free. So feel free to use this as much as you need to. And the starting lineup page is free, and Plate.IQ is free as well. So I'm going to try to show those as much as possible. That way, if you don't subscribe anywhere, you still have some good resources to build your lineups here. One thing of note for the early slate, Roth has the Giants-Chicago game as potential rain late. That might be, that doesn't bother me on starting pitchers. Kopech might actually even be better, because now if it rains late, you can get a complete game in 7 innings. But it does give me a little more caution in full stacking the White Sox. I stand by my statement earlier, maybe getting the 5-man stack elsewhere. All right, so real quick, no weather here for the main slate of concern. A lot of wind still, though. So when it comes to a specific game, we might have to look. Wind's 1 out for Mets, Brewers, in for Diamondbacks, Padres, out for Cleveland, Oakland, and then in with a lot of rain for the Rockies, Dodgers. So at least we don't have any weather concerns. So all the pitchers should be fair game on this slate. So first game here is Phillies, Yankees. 3.48 total for the Phillies, 4.52 for the Yankees. Taijuan Walker against Nestor Cortez. I'm just, with it being 11 games, I'm going to try to be quicker today. Taijuan Walker, 8.7K against the Yankees, no chance. Cortez, though, is definitely interesting. He is the most expensive pitcher on the slate, but he also probably has the most upside. He's a solid bet to go 6 innings. He's got good strikeout upside. This Phillies lineup has a great top of the order, but it feels like it drops off pretty quickly. They just got done playing Sunday Night Baseball last night in Texas. So I don't know what time this team actually got to New York. So Cortez is definitely my favorite pitcher on the slate. I would once we go through the rest of these pitchers, you'll realize exactly why. So that 9.7K is a little steep, and it is dangerous when you got Turner, Realmuto, Castellanos. We saw Bohm take DeGrom deep. So it's far from a lock, but with our current setup on this slate, I'm going to have to favor Cortez. Yankees, out on the Phillies. Even if I don't play Cortez, I won't play the Phillies. The Yankees are definitely interesting. The only problem is it's a lot of righties against Walker. We can check and see exactly what his numbers are against righties. Let's see. So versus righties versus lefties. Versus righties, he's actually pretty low WOBA, so I'm probably out on a full stack for the righties. I mean, Judge and Stanton and Torres are dangerous hitters who are probably matchup proof, but just for the slate, I'm probably out. But Rizzo definitely could be a one-off. We'll just have to say, I guess, how many first basemen we have as we go through the slate. So, all right, moving on. Rays, Nationals. We got 4.52 total for the Rays, pretty high against 3.48 for the Nationals. Drew Rasmussen versus Trevor Williams. Rasmussen, 8.1K. I don't love the price. I don't mind the pitcher, especially against the Nats. This team just does not have a lot a lot of talent, but for that price, I'm probably out on Rasmussen. He just doesn't have enough upside for 8.1K, and I think we'll have a few other pitchers in that price range that we can go to. So out on Rasmussen. Trevor Williams, it's not happening. This Rays team, it's healthy right now with Franco in there every day. So it's just not happening for me on Williams. Not at 7.6K. Maybe it feels like 5K or something, but not happening at that price. Rays are definitely interesting. I have a ton of interest on Wander Franco. He's been a beast to start the season, and I mean that his talent's never been in question. It's more just health. Right now he's full go, so don't mind Franco. Kind of just seeing what Trevor Williams looks like. Yeah, absolutely gets crushed against lefties. So that definitely makes me like Franco more. I'd say Brandon Loud definitely falls into that as well. You can see Rosarania and Diaz, no problems against righties. So I'm not concerned about that. The Rays, I would think one of the teams I'd have in consideration for a stack today. Let me just see if I can kind of see the ownership. They'll probably be, I don't know, maybe top 5 ownership wise, but I think that's probably the right spot. So even if I don't stack them, I think Franco and Brandon Lau I'd consider as one-offs. So the Nationals, I'm out. Even if I don't play Rasmussen, that's just not happening. They don't have enough upside, so we can move on from there. This game though is the highest total on the slate, if I'm not mistaken. Pirates Red Sox 9.5 total. 4.21 for the Pirates, 5.29 for the Red Sox. Johan Oviedo, Cutter Crawford. Both of these pitchers just are pretty rough. Oviedo, I think, has shown some signs of life, but we'll just have to kind of follow him as the season goes on. But I don't know if it was Fenway or what, but that Orioles Red Sox series absolutely was high scoring. So that has given me some even extra interest in this slate. You can see 14 miles an hour out to the left corner, 51 degrees, so decent weather here. So I think the Pirates are definitely in play. Cruz and Reynolds up top. Cutter Crawford is pretty terrible against lefties. Sorry. So I think whether I stack the Pirates or not, Cruz and Reynolds are going to be oh my gosh, that is 3.325 ISO against lefties. So I think if I'm one-off hunting, he's actually pretty good against righties. So these Pirates lefties are 100% in play, and they actually have several switch hitters here with Reynolds and Santana. You can go with Smith and Jigba, Bay, Sawinski. Yes, I think they have enough lefties here to really put them near the top of stacks. I'd probably be out on like Hutchin or Hayes unless I just really need them for that 5th spot. But these Pirates lefties are going to be near the top of my list on options for today. Moving over to the Red Sox, they definitely have some interesting lefties. Oviedo, let me pull it up real quick. I don't know too much about him. We can check and see exactly his splits versus lefties and righties. So actually worse against righties. Lefties he's actually pretty good against. So slight downgrade, I would think, to the full stack here. The Red Sox might be pretty high owned with this team total, so I might tread a little lightly here. Maybe a few one-offs. Duvall's just been absolutely insane right now, so that's might be where I go. But I think I prefer the Pirates over Red Sox unless something changes throughout the day. All right, moving forward, Blue Jays Royals. Barrios for Singer, 4.47 for Blue Jays. 4.03 for the Royals. I have been burnt on the Royals, I think, twice here in about 3 days. But, you just got to keep going back to them if the prices are right and the talent's there. So real quick on Barrios, I'm not playing him at 9.1K. That's just not happening. He's too wild, not high enough strikeout rate. So I'm out on Barrios. It's pretty high temp, but wind is blowing in. So Singer is in consideration. The only problem is, this Blue Jays team is just stacked. So with regards to just the pitchers independently, Singer, one of the higher upsides on the slate. We've seen him, go out and have double-digit strikeout games multiple times last year. But this is just an insanely tough matchup. Low strikeout rate, so probably out on Singer unless we just get some really low ownership on him or something. But I don't think there'll be another time and place for Singer, but against the Blue Jays in 72-degree weather, probably isn't it. For the hitters, though, I might be out on both sides. Yeah, both these pitchers, I guess, are susceptible to just getting, giving up some big runs, but probably out on both. I don't really see it. These pitchers are good enough, maybe to limit, a 7-run game or something. But yeah, I mean, if you want to take a one-off in this game, there's definitely some bats that can do it. I mean, you can never go wrong with Bichette or Vlad, or get maybe Pasquantino here for the Royals. I like that against Barrios. So, all right, moving forward, Braves Cardinals. We do have 72-degree weather, 11-mile-an-hour wind, kind of blowing towards the left foul pole. So that'd be a bump to right-handed batters, I would say. 4.19 total for the Braves, 3.81 total for the Cardinals. Charlie Morton here, 9.6K is pretty steep, even for him. I mean, he has the talent, but that's a tough price, especially against the Cardinals. I mean, we've seen some of these guys, Donovan, Nolan Gorman, they've been off to great starts. If these young lefties for the Cardinals are doing well, definitely scares me taking pitchers against them, because we know what Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras, O'Neill, we know what this middle of the order is. So I'm probably out on Morton. Woodford not happening against the Braves. Moving forward to the hitters, though, I think the Braves are definitely in consideration. We've played them a lot against Washington, so now we might actually get them at relatively low ownership. I'd say at least appropriate ownership. So I have some interest in the Braves. Let's check out Woodford splits real quick with that wind out to right field, because obviously the lefties I'm okay with, Olsen and Harris. Let's see how we feel about the righties real quick. Crazy low strikeout total for Woodford, so that's nice to see. Yeah, he's actually pretty good against righties. Low ISO all the way around, so heavy ground ball pitcher, 53%. If he gets into trouble, the Braves could get a rally going, but that makes it a little tough to take a full stack. So might be a secondary stack for me, or something kind of lower tier. But I'd still take maybe something from that Pittsburgh-Boston game over the Braves. All right, so moving forward, Orioles-Rangers. 3.94 total for the Orioles, 4.56 for the Rangers. Kyle Bradish against John Gray. The price there on Bradish is kind of nice, 6.9K, but it's just not worth it against this Rangers team. We've seen them go nuts first few games of the season, so out on that. John Gray is definitely someone we'll play at some point this year. That 9.2K is just high. If he was 7.5K, I think I'd take it, but 9.2 is pretty steep. If you need a pivot off Cortez, if you end up on a team or a stack that you feel is pretty chalky, I can maybe see going just from Cortez to Gray. Maybe if you really want to play like the Dodgers or Astros or somebody like that. But I would prefer Cortez or maybe one of these other guys in the 8K range that we'll get to in a minute. But Gray's in the mix, I will say that. These Orioles, though, hitters wise, I mean, they're just running like crazy. Mateo and Mullins are almost a lock for a steal every day. If they get on first base without a guy in front of them, they're running. So they're definitely playable. I wouldn't mind even like a Mateo Mullins Rushman or Mateo Mullins Santander kind of secondary stack. I mean, I love guys that can steal. I mean, this Orioles team, I think they have 5 steals and 5 stolen bases on opening day, and it hadn't slowed down since. So Orioles against Gray. Gray's someone we've seen have command issues before, so a stack against him can definitely get there. So the Orioles will be in the mix for me today as well. All right, moving forward, Rangers. Yeah, Rangers against Bradish. I think they're in play as well. I might just take some one-offs though here. This is a tough park to stack in, to like really get a high team total. So that's why I prefer the stolen base upside of the Orioles. But if this roof's closed, it really limits power. So real quick, we can take a look at the Texas hitters. I mean, they just have some studs at top of the order against righties. And Bradish does struggle against righties more than he does lefties as well. So both of that put together, the Rangers are a fair play, I would say. All right, moving forward, Tigers Astros 3.3 total for the Tigers, 5.17 for the Astros. Matt Boyd 7.2K against Astros, no thank you. Hunter Brown though 7.4K. This will probably be the highest on cheap pitcher of the day. The talent is certainly there. The Tigers are absolutely terrible. We saw Springs no-hit them 6 innings, 12 Ks, I think 80-something pitches. So we'll be taking pitchers against the Tigers all year. The only concern is Hunter Brown's pitch count. So the Astros, with him being their top prospect, might try to limit him. It's hard to tell in spring training. You can look up his stats, but I mean, if someone throws 40 pitches in a spring training game, they could, go out to the bullpen and throw 30 more pitches and it just not be documented. So that's the only concern with Hunter Brown is pitch count. If we get word that he's 85 pitches or more, then he's probably your SP2 today. With that being said, out on the Tigers, no thank you. And the Astros, I would think probably the highest on stack of the day for good reason. I mean, Boyd is susceptible to some big totals. The Astros have some monster hitters. Let's just see exactly what they do against lefties, and I would think they would be able to hit them because Alvarez and Tucker don't concern me lefty, and then the rest of the guys up top are all righties. I would think they're pretty solid against lefties. Oh, wow, I did not expect to see that from Alvarez. I mean 4.26 lefty. So if you can afford them, I mean, this will be an expensive stack, but I would not mind the Astros at all today. They are going to be probably pretty expensive stacks, so you might have to go a little cheaper at pitcher if you play them, but they're going to be one of the top stacks today for good reason. So, all right, moving forward, we got Angels Mariners, 3.43 total for the Angels. 4.07 total for the Mariners. Reed Detmers versus George Kirby. These are definitely two pitchers I'm going to have interest in today. I would say their price is appropriate on this slate. On a full slate with a bunch of aces, you might like to see them a little cheaper, but that's not a problem here on this slate. Detmers had massive K upside in the minor leagues, got up to the Angels, and it just lost his strikeout rate. He kind of made a tweak the end of last season. I think he kind of went back to what got him there, whether it was his curveball. I think he's started throwing it a little bit more. So his strikeout rate, I would expect to be up this season. The only concern is this Mariners hitters does have a lot of righties. So we can pull that up real quick. We're kind of splitting hairs here. These are two good pitchers that I'm certainly considering. So let's just see Detmer's numbers. Against righties and lefties specifically. So it has a higher K rate against righties, which I like to see, but only 22%. And then these guys, high strikeout rate, but also some pretty high ISO rate too against lefties. So Detmers will be in the mix, but if Hunter Brown has no pitch count limit, then I'd prefer Hunter Brown. But if we got for any reason to have concern with Hunter Brown, I think Detmers is an option. Kirby, on the other hand, too, is definitely a solid pitcher. I mean, the only problem is he's facing Trout and Ohtani. I like it. I like the right-handed matchup against the Angels a little bit more. Low strikeout totals here at the bottom of the order kind of concerns me a little bit. Kirby actually has a higher strikeout total against lefties, so maybe he'll see a few more lefties here. Jake Lamb and Rian Hefo. So Kirby, I think I'd probably prefer Kirby a little bit over Detmers, but I think the ownership will follow that. I would expect Kirby to be a little bit higher owned than Detmers. I think they're probably owned appropriately. With that being said, Seattle's a little bit of a pitcher's park, so I think both of these guys will be in my pitcher pool today, and we'll kind of just have to see where exactly my salary falls. But these two guys, I'm going to be considering just pure talent with both of them compared to the rest of the pitchers on the slate. All right, next game, Diamondbacks Padres. Diamondbacks 3.86 team total, 4.64 for the Padres. Ryan Nelson versus Ryan Weathers. We can make this quick. I'm out on both the pitchers, just not happening. Moving to the hitters though. With the Diamondbacks, they do carry a lot of stolen base upside. I had Corbin Carroll yesterday. I think he had 3 steals. The only problem is I took Diamondbacks against Syndergaard, who's easy to steal on. They just couldn't get on first base. So there's definitely a concern with the Diamondbacks. But against Ryan Nelson, I'm not very scared. The one thing I do see right away, though, 21-mile-an-hour wind, kind of blowing from left field towards first base for this game. So that worries me a little bit. That would be a massive downgrade to right-handed power. And with the lefty pitching, Lewis, Marte, Gurriel, Walker, Longoria, all righties there at the top of the order. So I'm probably out on the Diamondbacks because of that. Maybe a speed one off. I don't know what Carroll exactly is against lefty. That would be of interest if he's decent against lefties, just because the stolen base upside is crazy for him. But yeah, you can see Carroll's decent against lefties, decent power. Woba's kind of low. We don't have any data on Weathers against lefties. Yeah, probably out on the Diamondbacks. But if you want to take a shot on stolen base, I could see Carroll being that. All right, Padres though, probably one of the better stacks on the slate. Ryan Nelson, I believe, is a pretty decent young pitcher. Let's see exactly what his numbers are. Yeah, 23% strikeout rate. This Padres team has definitely underwhelmed so far this year. And this win kind of concerns me a little bit. I think their lefties are in play. Grisham, Soto, Cronenworth, and Carpenter. Not a problem with Soto. His price, 5.7K, he doesn't have the upside that some of the other guys like Acuna or J-Rod or some of the others, 6K hitters has. He's a great real life player. He'll get on two times a game, but I mean, what does that do for you in fantasy? At that price, you really need some extra base hits, drive in a bunch of runs, and a pretty good home run upside. So probably out on the Padres, but the talent's certainly there. So if you like them more than I do, or if this win ends up changing more to right field, I can see going with the Padres. All right, so moving forward, we got Guardians, A's. I think there are 2 games left. So Guardians 4.11 team total versus the A's 3.39. Zach Plesac versus James Caprillion. The win looks like it is out to right field. The only problem is this Oakland Park is a tough hitter's park. It's definitely favors the pitchers. Huge foul territory as well. Helps kind of pitchers get a couple cheap outs. First glance out on Caprillion, not happening. Low strikeout total for the Guardians, so out on Caprillion. Plesac's interesting for sure, just because of this A's team being pretty rough. So we can kind of pull it up. He's kind of right in that mix with Hunter Brown and Kirby and Detmers. I think he's kind of falls right into that mix. On problem, yeah, low strikeout total for Plesac certainly is made up for with the high K rates for the bottom portion of this A's team. So I think Plesac is certainly in play. I'd have him right there in the mix with Kirby, Detmers, and Hunter Brown. With regards to the hitters, out on the A's is not going to happen. The Guardians, though, I think make for a good stack. They over 14 total. Caprillion, not very good. We can see exactly what his numbers are. Low strikeout total, high walk rate, which I love to see. That's definitely can help your stat kind of keep rallies going. If you can, you guy gets a double, next guy gets a walk, and then all of a sudden you got another guy up that can really drive them in. So high fly ball rate as well. A little bit worse against righties actually, so I would be fine playing lefties or righties from this game. Josh Bell has a lower ISO than I thought against righties, so I think Ramirez, I'd probably maybe prefer Naylor at first base over Bell. Top of the order certainly in play, just these guys get on base in front of these power hitters, and then Gonzalez, Jimenez, Zunino all in play. So I like the Guardians as a stack on this slate. All right, let's go forward to the last game. We got Rockies-Dodgers. 3.44 total for the Rockies, 5.56 for the Dodgers. Ryan Feltner, 6.4K against Michael Grove, 5.6K. Feltner, I will be out against the Dodgers. We won't play pitchers against the Dodgers very often. And certainly Feltner is not one we're going to play. Grove, on the other hand, I think he's a solid pitcher. Just some pitch count concerns, and certainly the matchup isn't too hard against the Rockies. Let's pull up Grove real quick. Yeah, low strikeout rate against the Rockies. The price is nice, though, I will say. XFIP of 5.71 is nothing to write home about. So I'm probably out, I guess, on Grove today. Maybe later in the year if his pitch count gets up or we see that the Dodgers trust him to go a little deeper. I always have concerns with the Dodgers with how far they'll let people go. I'm probably out on Grove. Rockies they've had some solid games this year. They put up some big runs against the Padres. Cron has definitely off to a good start, but with this wind, 53 degree, 28 mile an hour in from left field, I'm probably out on any of the righties with this wind. Then the lefties, Blackman, McMahon, are really the only two lefties I would consider in the lineup, but that'd certainly just be as one-offs. I would not play the Rockies as a full stack. Dodgers, on the other hand, will be probably the highest on them, and the Astros highest on stack of the day. So if you can get there is the concern. There's certainly you would think you'd want to have Betts, Freeman, Smith, Muncy, maybe three of those guys in your stack, but it's going to be hard. We're going to probably play two pitchers above 7.5K. It might get kind of hard to fit these guys in, so I wouldn't mind with this wind. Maybe I'd favor Freeman over Betts. I like to have the catcher, so Smith is an option still. And then maybe fit in some of these bottom of the order lefties like Peralta and Outman. We can see Felter splits real quick. Maybe that'll give some insight on where to go with these Dodgers. Okay, yeah, he's equally bad against both sides. So I'd still lean Outman and Peralta here. You can see Vargas is pretty bad against righties. Rojas pretty bad against righties. So some mix at the top of the order, and maybe add Peralta or Outman to bring your overall cost down a little bit. All right, so that is the 11-game slate. We have no weather concerns to worry about today. So I think, in summary, the pitchers I would really consider. Cortez is probably at the top of that list, but he has the highest price, so I think his price is appropriate on this slate. Singer has a ton of upside, but that's just a tough matchup against the Blue Jays. Morton, tough matchup against the Cardinals. I'm probably out until we get an easier matchup for him. Gray would be the main pivot off Cortez, but this Orioles team is a little bit scary to take a pitcher against right now. I mean, one walk can turn into a steal. So all of a sudden, a walk single turns into a earned run just because of the stolen base upside from this team. I'd like to see if the roof is closed. If the roof's closed, gives a slight bump to Gray. So we'll just have to see. Hunter Brown, only concern would be pitch count. Other than that, the talent is certainly there, and the Tigers are terrible, so makes that a little bit easier. These are two interesting pitchers for sure, Detmers and Kirby. Kind of splitting hairs between the two of them, but I think Detmers is slightly lower owned, but Kirby's slightly better in a better matchup. So that take that for what you will there. Cleveland, I like. Plesac has the easier matchup against Oakland. The upside strikeout just isn't quite there for him, so he'll be right there in the mix. So with Detmers and Kirby for me. With regards to stacks, Guardians are certainly an option if you can afford the Dodgers. I'm kind of out on the Padres, like we said. Astros, kind of in that same ballpark as the Dodgers. If you can afford them, maybe add in some guys on the bottom of the order. Braves are in play, and this Pittsburgh-Boston, I'd say both sides are in play. The Rays are in play, especially the lefties, Lau and Franco. And then, yeah, that's probably maybe a couple one-offs from the Yankees. All right, so that's the 11-game slate. Hope that helps you out. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to try to do these as much as I can throughout the week. we'll just kind of have to, as the season goes, we'll see what days work best for me, and what days we get the biggest slate. Don't forget, there's a 110, 210 Eastern, 110 Central 2-gamer. So definitely get on that if you want some afternoon action. Don't be afraid to get different. I would just dial back your entry fees and just have some fun. If whatever you play doesn't work out, then you just start building your night slate. So wouldn't worry about too much, but it is fun to kind of have something throughout the afternoon to follow. So, all right. Thanks again for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. You can DM me on Twitter or comment in this video, and I'll try to get to them before the end of before lock hits. So, all right. Good luck today, guys, and I'll see you guys at the top.